Ad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Stotra Srimad. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nand Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Namachar Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद जद्वैत गदाधर शिवसदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय, मायापुर धाम की जय, जगन्नाथ धाम की जय, गंगा माई की जय, यमुना माई की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, संवेद भक्त वृंद की जय, निताई गौ प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. Glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. Glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भगवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter number 1, Text number 12. Kim pramattasya bahubihi parokshaihayaner iha varam muhurtam viditam katate shreyase yataha. Kim, what is? Pramatasya, of the bewildered. Bahubihi, by many. Paroksheha, inexperienced. Hayaneha, years. Iha, in this world. Varam, better. Muhurtam, a moment. Viditam, conscious. Ghatate, one can try for. Shreyase, in the matter of the supreme interest. Yataha, by that. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. What is the value of a prolonged life which is wasted, inexperienced by years in this world? Better a moment of full consciousness, because that gives one a start in searching after his supreme interest. Purport. Srila Sukadeva Goswami instructed Maharaj Parikshit about the importance of the chanting of the holy name of the Lord by every progressive gentleman. In order to encourage the king who had only 7 remaining days of life, Srila Sukadeva Goswami asserted that there is no use in living hundreds of years without any knowledge of the problems of life. Better to live for a moment with full consciousness of the supreme interest to be fulfilled. The supreme interest of life is eternal, with full knowledge and bliss. Those who are bewildered by the external features of the material world and are engaged in the animal propensities of the eat, drink, and be merry type of life are simply wasting their lives by the unseen passing away of valuable interest. Valuable years, sorry. We should know in perfect consciousness that human life is bestowed upon the conditioned soul to achieve spiritual success, and the easiest possible procedure to attain this end is to chant the holy name of the Lord. In the previous verse, we have discussed this point to a certain extent, and we may further be enlightened on the different types of offenses committed unto the feet of the holy name. Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhu has quoted many passages from authentic scriptures and has ably supported the statements in the matter of offenses at the feet of the holy name. From Vishnu Yamala Tantra, Srila Jiva Goswami has proven that one can be liberated from the effects of all sins simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord. Quoting from the Markandeya Puran, Sri Goswami Ji says that one should neither blaspheme the devotee of the Lord nor indulge in hearing others who are engaged in belittling a devotee of the Lord. A devotee should try to restrict the vilifier by cutting out his tongue, and being unable to do so, one should commit suicide rather than hear the blaspheming of the devotee of the Lord. The conclusion is that one should neither hear nor allow vilification of a devotee of the Lord. As far as distinguishing the Lord's holy name from the names of the demigods, the revealed scriptures disclose, Bhagavad Gita 10.41, that all extraordinarily powerful beings are but parts and parcels of the supreme energetic Lord Krishna. Except for the Lord himself, everyone is subordinate. No one is independent of the Lord. Since no one is more powerful than or equal to the energy of the Supreme Lord, no one's name can be as powerful as that of the Lord. By chanting the Lord's holy name, one can derive all the stipulated energies synchronized from all sources. Therefore, one should not equalize the supreme holy name of the Lord with any other name. Brahma, Shiva, or any other powerful god can never be equal to the supreme Lord Vishnu. The powerful holy name of the Lord can certainly deliver one from sinful effects, but one who desires to utilize this transcendental potency of the holy name of the Lord in one's sinister activities is the most degraded person in the world. Such persons are never excused by the Lord or by any agent of the Lord. One should, therefore, utilize one's life in glorifying the Lord by all means without any offense. Such activity of life, even for a moment, is never to be compared to a prolonged life of ignorance, like the lives of the tree and other living entities who may live for thousands of years without prosecuting spiritual advancement. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Translation once again. What is the value of a prolonged life which is wasted, inexperienced by years in this world? Better a moment of full consciousness, because that gives one a start in searching after his supreme interest. Powerful verse, powerful purport. Hare Krishna to all of you. And this chapter is rightly entitled The First Step in God Realization. And first step in God realization, we learn from today's verses, not to waste human form of life, not even a moment, because every moment is very precious. Just like right now is 18 minutes after 8. We started the class somewhere around 8 o'clock. So 18 minutes are gone. We cannot get them back. Not even a moment from those 18 minutes can be gotten back. So important from what we learn from this verse is not to waste human form of life. It should be used in Krishna consciousness. It should be used to achieve the goal in life, provided we have a goal. Because if we don't have a goal, how can we try to achieve that goal? Now, the verse is also talking about full consciousness. So one may wonder, what exactly does this verse mean? Full consciousness. Srila Prabhupada has given us the process, how to become fully conscious of the Supreme Lord, how to be fully Krishna conscious in such a way that it's not just that we become conscious of Krishna, but he becomes conscious of us. He says, aha, here is that devotee of mine who is sincerely endeavoring towards the path of devotional service, who's sincerely trying very hard, to not waste this human form of life. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada has given so many valuable points for us. First of all, he says that Shukadev Goswami is instructing Parikshit Maharaj on the importance of chanting. Excuse me. Chanting is very, very important. Especially for Parikshit Maharaj, because he has a notice, a 7-day notice, that he is going to die in 7 days. How fortunate is he? So now that he has an appointment with death, Shukadev Goswami is instructing him on hearing Krishna Katha. He should concentrate on hearing about the Lord, hearing about the holy name, hearing about the pastimes of the Lord. And all these 7 days, that is what Shukadev Goswami explained to our Parikshit Maharaj. And what did Parikshit Maharaj do? He did not eat, he did not drink, he just sat there, just drinking the nectar of the holy name, the pastimes of the Lord. The verse is, what's the use of having a prolonged life? What's the use if one is live for 100 years or 100 plus years, but they don't know how to solve the problems of life? Prabhupada is not talking about the day-to-day problems of life. What should I eat today? Or what should I wear today? No. He's talking about the real problems of life, how to end the cycle of misery, birth, disease, old age, and death. That is called solving the problems of life. And Srila Prabhupada, towards the end of the purport, he gives a nice example of the trees. The trees, they live for hundreds and thousands of years. But what use is that prolonged life? Because there is no way they can progress spiritually. Excuse me. Until and unless there's a devotee like Srila Prabhupada sitting down under a tree and chanting Hare Krishna. That is what can help the tree. But in general, who does that? Do we on a day-to-day basis go around, near the trees and chant, in front of the tree? No. So what's the use of living hundreds and thousands of years, a prolonged life, which is wasted? It's not used in Krishna consciousness. The trees cannot make spiritual advancement. So the verse says it's better to live for one moment with full consciousness. So now that brings about a question: are we conscious of ourselves, of our consciousness on a daily basis? Are we really meditating on what is the state of my consciousness? How can I improve? How can I try to be fully conscious of the Supreme Lord on a daily basis? So this verse is better to live for one moment of that full consciousness. That doesn't mean we just become fully conscious one moment and then we go back to the grind. No. In the next verse, we will hear about Maharaj Khatwanga. What did he do? He was very aware of the prime duty of human form of life. He was a very responsible person. And that's what Srila Prabhupada is mentioning, that we should be responsible people. Those who try to remain conscious of Krishna all the time. Very, very important. Be alert in whatever we do. If we are doing our not just our duty, but our prescribed duty, are we alert? In what consciousness are we performing our duties? So, as far as Khatwanga Maharaj is concerned, he never forgot his prime duty. He always remembered the Supreme Lord. He was a saintly person, a saintly king. We've heard about Khatwanga Maharaj, who was invited by the demigods, to come and fight for them. And he was successful. He satisfied the demigods. And in return, the demigods offered him, a benediction to enjoy in the heavenly planets. But all he wanted to know was, how long am I going to live? When am I going to die? Do we have that question in our minds? When am I going to die? The answer is very clear. Any moment. We don't have an appointment with death like Parikshit Maharaj had. We don't know when will be the last moment of our lives. So Khatwanga Maharaj wanted to know, when am I going to die? And when the demigods told him, one moment, what did he do? Did he say, oh, let me enjoy my life, that last moment? No. He left the heavenly planets and came down to the earthly planet. And he took complete shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is called a successful human life. You see? Why did he come down? Because he wanted to prepare himself for the next life. He knew, based on the scriptures, that complete shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord is the only way to be successful. And this is how he was successful in his endeavor to remember the Lord, and he got liberated. See, we are very fortunate. We are not in the heavenly planets. We are on the earthly planet, where it's the most easiest way to go back to Godhead, where it's possible to just follow the process given to us by Srila Prabhupada, advance in Krishna consciousness, and finally achieve the goal in life is to go back to Godhead. And Srila Prabhupada talks about those who waste human life. How? Eat, sleep, and be merry. They think this is only one life. There's no life after this. So let us enjoy it to the fullest. Eat, sleep, and be merry. That's wasting human form of life. Even the animals do that. They sleep, have babies. So what's the difference between them and us? Animals cannot understand Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. They cannot become fully Krishna conscious. But we can. We have that opportunity. And human life is meant for spirituality, to achieve spiritual success, not just waste it. And the best and the easiest and the most successful way to become Krishna conscious is chant attentively. Chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare. That's the easiest way. It's free. All we need is our tongue, our ears, our mind to concentrate. That's about it. It's free of charge. And that can help us to advance spiritually. But of course, as Srila Prabhupada talks about, we heard a very beautiful lecture last Friday by Anasuya, explaining even the offenses that need to be avoided. And Srila Prabhupada repeats in today's purport that when we chant, we should be aware that we are avoiding the 11 offenses. That is attentive chanting. That while we are chanting, we are hearing those sound vibrations, and at the same time, we are aware that we should not commit any of those 11 offenses. What are they? To blaspheme the devotees. Srila Prabhupada says Vaishnava aparad is really, really dangerous. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu talks about it. So, blaspheming the devotees or even hearing someone else blaspheme the devotees is a grave offense that hampers our spiritual progress. Especially the spiritual devotional creeper of ours gets crushed when we blaspheme other devotees. Krishna does not like his devotees to be blasphemed. It could be in a subtle way, it could be in a gross way, it could be in any way. It could be even in our minds. If in our minds we are blaspheming a devotee is also Vaishnava aparad. So, what is the solution? Solution is to, instead of magnifying the faults of the devotees, we magnify our faults. And instead magnify the good qualities of the devotees. Then the chances of blaspheming the devotees will be reduced. So to blaspheme the devotees is not a good idea at all. If we are interested in growing our devotional creeper till it reaches the lotus feet of the Lord, then we have to be very, very careful. Yes, if we are in a position of authority, like the temple president or the GBC or a manager or whatever it may be, if it's a position of authority, then it becomes a duty of that authority to call upon the devotee who may be doing something wrong and in a very polite and loving way try to help that devotee and not point fingers and said you did this, you did this. No. Only when there is love for that devotee that the exchange between the devotee and the authority will be very pleasant and beneficial too. So only if we are in a position of authority that we can bring about the points that may be hampering the spiritual growth of the devotee. That's not blasphemy. But if we just stand around and talk to other devotees, blaspheming other devotees, that is Vaishnava aparad. Of course, the scriptures say that one should, if one blasphemes a devotee, one should commit suicide or, cut off the tongue or whatever, But the least we can do is maybe stop that conversation or just walk away from there. And be aware that we do not commit Vaishnava aparad. Another offense to be avoided. Excuse me. To consider the names of Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, like demigods, to be equal to Krishna. That's also an offense. To disobey the orders of a spiritual master. The spiritual master is there to guide us, to train us, to help us advance spiritually. So all the instructions that come from the spiritual master are for our benefit. So we should make sure that we do not disobey, to blaspheme the Vedic scriptures, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be an imagination, or to give interpretations to the holy name. Oh, in my opinion, Hare Krishna means this. No. Very, very important to commit sinful activities on the strength of chanting. Today I've chanted my rounds. Now I can do anything that I want to do, commit some sinful activities. And then tomorrow I'm going to chant again and it's going to nullify it. No, it doesn't happen that way. So that is a grave offense to consider chanting Hare Krishna to be one of the auspicious ritualistic activities. It's not. To instruct a faithless person. Now, that doesn't mean that we should not give knowledge to others. Maybe someone that we are talking to does not have faith in God, but we can, in a very subtle way, give the knowledge. By this, it means to not instruct a faithless person on the glories of the holy name, but we can definitely preach to them about chanting the holy names. Another offense is to not have complete faith in chanting, having doubts in our mind. Even though we have references from the scriptures, even though Srila Prabhupada has explained to us, even though we are hearing in parampara, but still, not having complete faith in chanting, that's also an offense. And the gravest of all is to be inattentive while chanting. So, Shukadev Goswami is instructing Parikshit Maharaj on the importance of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We see so many references in the scriptures about chanting, the importance of chanting the holy names. Why do we chant? Is it because someone asked us to chant? No. We chant because Cheto Darpanam Marjanam. Our hearts have become very unclean. There are a lot of things inside the heart which should not be there. Lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, illusion, so many unwanted things, anarthas. Adau Shraddha Tatha Sadhu Sangha. Bhajan Kriya Anartha Nivriti. Anartha. How will the anarthas go away? When we first have basic faith, Shraddha, that there is God, there is a Supreme Lord. Shraddha in the scriptures, faith in the spiritual master. Then sadhu sangha, then we will have the desire or inclination to associate with devotees. And when we associate with devotees, we learn from them. We get knowledge from them. We hear Krishna Katha from them, like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. We hear. And when we hear, we understand the importance of following sadhana bhakti, devotional service. Then we start chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Then we start following the regulative principles, start reading Srila Prabhupada's book. So this is what Sadhu Sangha does to us, association of devotees. Very, very important. When we visit the temple, what is the purpose of visiting the temple? Just to go see the deities, eat prasadam and come back? No. We go there to, of course, have darshan of the deities. Pay some attention, be attentive while having darshan of the deities. Glorify the beautiful outfits that they are wearing, the garlands, the flower garlands, the jewelry. Concentrate mind on the lotus feet of the Lord. I usually try to count how many tulasi leaves are on the lotus feet. And sometimes there's a desire, I wish I could get that one tulasi leaf from the lotus feet. And sometimes the desire is fulfilled. The pujari will come, pick one tulasi leaf and give. Darshan is very, very important when we are seeing the Lord in the temple. There is no difference between the deity and the Lord. Then we go to the temple to hear Krishna Katha. When we go to the temple, we sit down for the class, for the lecture. It should not be, let me go to the class only if my favorite speaker is going to speak. No. Krishna Katha is Krishna Katha. It doesn't matter who is speaking. The effect is the same. So we hear Krishna Katha, and then the next step is not prasadam. Next step is to associate with devotees and discuss what we heard in the class. I had learned that when we discuss with at least 3 devotees what we have heard in the class, then it stays in our memory. So we discuss with devotees of the Lord on what we have heard, so that we can churn our hearts and get more nectar out of the class. Then, of course, we have prasadam along with the other devotees. So the scriptures are giving us so many references about chanting of the holy names of the Lord. It's very, very important. And at the same time, I would say it's more important to make sure we do not blaspheme the devotees. Srila Prabhupada says Krishna does not easily pardon those who blaspheme his devotees. So best thing is to be very alert and catch ourselves before we start blaspheming. And if our chanting is very attentive, then it'll become easy to avoid these 11 offenses. That includes Vaishnava Aparadh. Now we're hearing so much about chanting, chanting, chanting. Which names to chant? Isn't that a question? What to chant? Best thing is just follow evam parampara praptam. Whatever we have heard in our disciplic succession, just follow the parampara, follow the authority. And Krishna, 538 years ago, came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's in the parampara, he's the Supreme Lord. And he gave us the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. He gave us this Maha Mantra to chant every day. There's no need to come up with concoctions. There's no need to, stress our brain to think what is better than Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. No, there's nothing better. And the potency of all the mantras from the Vedic scriptures is inside this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. There's no difference between Maha Mantra and Krishna. And these sound vibrations are very, very powerful. They can help us to purify our heart, our mind, our senses, our finer brain tissues. So when we have everything given to us on a golden platter, all we need to do is just accept it and put it into practice. Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport that no one is equal to or above Krishna. So we got to be alert that we do not at any moment think that the demigods and Krishna are on the same level. No. No one is equal to the Supreme Lord. We cannot compare Krishna with the demigods. So from today's verse, we understand chanting is very important to become fully conscious. And chanting without offenses. Not commit offenses, and continue chanting. No, we should continue chanting, but also work really hard on avoiding these offenses. Because if we don't avoid these offenses, especially Vaishnava Aparadh, then we are going to kill our spiritual creeper. Our devotional creeper will be crushed. Srila Prabhupada in his purport talks about Bhagavad Gita verse number 41 from chapter 10. You see? Know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor, right? Anything glorious or beautiful existence should be understood to be but a fragmental manifestation of Krishna's opulence, whether it is spiritual or material. Anything extraordinary opulent should be considered to represent Krishna's opulence. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and everyone else is subordinate to him. We even heard this in Bhagavad Gita, the theory part, and then we saw the practical demonstration in chapter number 11, the universal form of the Lord. Excuse me, that everyone is subordinate to the Lord. Everyone comes from the Lord. Everyone is within the Lord. You see, we are his parts and parcels. Mamai Vamsha Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. We are Amsha. We are parts of the Supreme Lord. And so our position becomes that of a servant. Jivira Swarup hoy, Krishna Nitya Das. It doesn't say Jivira Swarup hoy, Krishna Ras Monday Das. That only on Mondays we become a servant of the Lord. Nitya Das, always a servant. So what does a servant do? Worship the master. So when we worship Krishna with love and devotion, then we can say our human life is successful and it's not wasted. Otherwise, it's a waste of human life. What is the use of living for 100 years or more if one has not used this human form of life for self-realization? We have philosophical intelligence, right? Excuse me. We have that intelligence so that we can use it and inquire from a bona fide spiritual master, from authority, what is the purpose of human form of life? So this verse is saying it's better to live just one moment of full consciousness. Then again the question arises, how to be fully Krishna conscious? The answer is the same. Srila Prabhupada has given us the process. And that process starts with attentive chanting. Excuse me. Attentive chanting, which means when we are chanting, we pay attention to the holy name. That means we are paying attention to Krishna because there's no difference between Krishna and his holy name. Ye yatha mam prapadyante. Krishna says, as one surrenders unto me, I reward them accordingly. So when he will see our sincere endeavor to chant attentively, he's going to help. That is the first step. And even this chapter is entitled The First Step in God Realization. Now, when we start taking the first step, then according to this verse, it says, then we will start searching after the supreme interest. What is the supreme interest? To glorify the supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, the supreme interest of life is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. That is Sat Chit Ananda. The supreme interest should be how I can break the cycle of birth and death and get on a spiritual body with just Sat Chit Anand and go back to the spiritual world. That is the first step in God realization. Excuse me. The first step is that I have to accept, for instance, if I accept I have a disease, only then I will go to a doctor. Will I go to a doctor if I don't accept I have a disease? So first I have to accept I am not self-realized. Only then I'll make the effort to approach a bona fide authority. So at the end of the day, the choice is ours. What do we want to do? Do we want to go after our supreme interest? Do we want to be fully conscious of Krishna? Do we want to not waste even a moment of our human life? Then Srimad Bhagavatam is for us. And Krishna is ready to help us, provided we help ourselves. So the verse once again, excuse me. What is the value of a prolonged life which is wasted, inexperienced by years in this world? Better a moment of full consciousness, because that gives one a start in searching after his supreme interest. So I'm going to end here. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji, for a very, very, very nice class. All inspiring and also so much advice there.
All glories
But,
to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai, Jai. If the devotees have a question, please unmute yourself and ask the question. If you don't mind, I'd like to start with the question directed from me. So when you were, Mataji, when you were preaching, you mentioned the offenses and you counted them as 11. And normally, we say, yeah, the 10 offenses to be avoided in chanting the holy name of the Lord, and just talk about it, the bodies. So I just wanted a little clarity. Did you mean that the 10th offense we know is to not have complete faith in chanting the holy name and also to maintain material attachment? Then it says it is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Is that the 11th offense you're thinking?
Yes.
Okay. So the inattentive chanting is added on as the
Yes.
next. Okay. All right. That's all I wanted clarity on.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So, dear devotees, if you please unmute yourself and
Hare Krishna
start speaking.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Please accept my humble
Accept
obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru. Such a beautiful lecture, Mataji. This is something like you can remember and read and listen every day, because that's the basic principles. So, and Prabhupada has given so many beautiful lessons actually in this purport. So, but basically, I'm still waiting for that fully conscious movement. So, even though we chant and, we may not pay attention sometimes, but we try to do our best. So,
I'm
as
also
I said,
waiting. I'm also waiting.
yeah. So, thank you, Mataji. That
All
is
glories
such
to
a beautiful
Prabhupada.
lesson. Is this recorded somewhere? We can listen again?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's on YouTube. So if you put the Srimad Bhagavatam text on there, 2-1-12, and then today's date, April 15th, and Mother Gita's name, it should pop up. That's how it
Okay,
was.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
on
you,
YouTube.
Prabhuji.
Yeah,
Yeah, but like I said, this is something we can hear every day and remember ourselves, why we're chanting, how to chant, and what is the purpose of life. So, such a beautiful lesson, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
All glories to Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Gita ji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Bhakti.
Dandavat Pranam. Gita ji, nice lecture.
All glories to Prabhupada. Thank you, Bhakti.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else like to ask a question? Share a takeaway?
Hare Krishna, Mother Gita, please accept my humble obeisances, so goes to Prabhupada. Mother, very, very powerful class. It's
Glories to Prabhupada.
as you were speaking, I was really, still asking that question in my mind that I shared last Friday. How was my chanting? It's a question I think that we should always ask ourselves on a daily basis, and and bring that mind back. As you're speaking, Mother, about chanting it, and I think you touched upon hearing too, how important it is to hear. I was remembering a quote from a statement actually from His Holiness Chandramali Swami that he gave, I think about a couple of weeks ago. I don't remember when, but recently, kind of recent, where he made a comment and he said that when we go to the temple, it's going to the temple is worship, like that's a timing for arti. Because oh yes, now I remember when you're speaking about the deities, right? What color they're using, what flowers, being really, attentive. And I was thinking about this comment that Chandamani Swami said, that when we go to the temple, whether we're sitting in kirtan, we're sitting in the bhajan, mantra meditation, or class, or arti, we should be, I actually wrote it down. He says that we should concentrate on the worship. And he said that he made a reference to Madhurya Kadambini by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, that he said that deviations in bhakti, wait, let me see. We should not do anything else but concentrate on the worship in progress. When we don't concentrate on the worship that's happening at that time, then that is deviation in bhakti. And I said, wow, I have to find that book and find that code. But Prabhupada says, so he says that when it's class, we should focus. When it's, chanting mantra meditation, we should chant. When it's arati, we should focus. Because if we don't, then it's deviation in bhakti. I thought that was really powerful.
Yes, and unfortunately, mostly it so happens that when we go to the temple, we start taking attendance. Who has come, who is missing, etc., which is so unnecessary. Who are we to take the attendance? Instead, why not concentrate on hearing the kirtan or having the beautiful darshan of the deities? Pay attention to the class, right? Prabhupada says when we are eating prasadam, there's full meditation. We are fully engrossed in prasadam. It's like, we are relishing it. Our full attention is there, and we don't really appreciate any disturbance while we are eating. The same state of consciousness should be there even for other
It's the
activities.
focus, like you said, Mother, and Hannah was very, it really sunk in my heart when Maharaj said that it's, when we hear words like deviation, it's like a very heavy word. It's like doomsday for me,
It's
So
like we're doing something wrong,
yeah, it's like serious. So he said it's deviation in bhakti when we don't focus on the current worship in progress. Like, we are sitting there, but we're, like you said, we're seeing who's coming, who's going out. We're chanting our rounds, or we're chit-chatting, or we just sit and watch and not chanting along with the devotees with the blank face. That means that's deviation. Yeah, that was a powerful statement. I just wanted to share that because it reminded me when you spoke about, are we seeing what the deities are using? And did we hear the lecture? What did we take home with us? So it's about focus and attention. Thank you, Mother. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hila Krishna Prabhu, please unmute yourself.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji, for giving awesome lecture. But the first part I didn't able to join because of other conflict. But my comment, there is no questions, Mataji, and some realizations is like as you know that one, and I'm practicing this one from many years now. So the chanting I did, as you mentioned, that aparad thing, is when I chant early morning, I see that I am doing less aparad there. Right, as soon the day progress and you are getting into your job and this and that, by end of the day it's like completely it's become like a mechanical. I'm trying to finishing now. Okay, let's get that done. Mine, I have to reach my numbers. Early morning when you start, which I'm thinking that my symptoms is if I will do it early morning and read early morning everything, then I see that my mind is not divergent. That it's still the thoughts are coming. It's very minimum thoughts. So that's feel that, okay, I'm doing the less aparad. Aparad is happening and morning and evening, but it's very less and I'm more focused. That's the thing is. And as you already mentioned that all the 10 and 11 aparad. So we need to focus. But the thing, as you always tell, one thing also, I think one of the example when you are giving this lecture is when you go to the doctor, and the doctor will not give you the randomly picking the color meeny mino kind of thing, your example, right? And he will tell your symptoms. Okay, this is your symptom, this is what you have to take. But our goal is we have to have a pure chanting. My symptoms may not be the same as someone else's symptoms. So I'm thinking that over the period, I'm thinking that my symptoms is mind is fluctuating so much the entire day. So better I should get up early and at least do some quality chanting. Maybe it could be 1 or it could be 16, but try as much at the early morning so that I can avoid my all the aparad, what you mentioned just now. Aparad is still going to be happening because we have 4 defects. I'm going to do mistakes, but how I can minimize those mistakes? My symptoms is if I will do early morning chanting, if I remember everything, and after that Mangal Aarti and things. That's my observation, Mataji. That's I'm just want to share, and it will remind based on your lectures. So we will watch again.
Yes,
you.
this is what Srila Prabhupada also says. Morning time is the best time because it's a Brahma Muhurat time. It's in the mode of goodness. So that's why our concentration on chanting in the morning is a lot more than during the day. So thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mother. Hare Krishna. That's it.
Hare Krishna. Jai. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna,
Anyone?
Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisance.
Please accept mine. August.
Beautiful class, as all the devotees saying that. Master enlightened you. Here, actually, I want to just bring this point. Like, definitely, aparad we commit must. I mean, especially, I want to take my thing. I commit so many offenses because when we live in the temple among the devotees, yeah, also we know that sadhu sangha is most important to progress in the spiritual life, and chanting all the some mangala arti through our saranarti, we all always engage in the temple service, but at the same time, among the devotees, we start making offenses, we start committing offenses too. So, and then, after, many years, like when we served the temple for 10, 12, 15 years, and then again feeling like, okay, this is not the place to stay to do the, bhakti because of the offenses. We generally commit the offenses and we get out of the temple. Then we feel, oh, because I'm missing the sadhus. So all these things come. So how we can eradicate this part, like the offenses part. So like once I have already done the offenses, mostly the Vaishnava aparad. We do, all the Namabhas, Namaparad is also there. But I feel that what we did or I did, in the temple because of the gossiping, devotees talking, all this, then blaspheming this devotee, that devotee. So how to, like, okay, I have done that aparad, how to now rectify that aparad again? I mean, like that too.
Yes.
Come into the, again, non-aparadit situation.
So we have to be alert and make sure we choose our association properly. We choose association where we can engage in Krishna Katha instead of blaspheming of devotees, and also make extra effort to chant attentively in the mornings, because all the problems will be solved as soon as we start focusing on hearing what we are chanting. So if we, make a plan of how to start chanting attentively. The first thing would be early in the morning, which means we wake up early in the morning and, make sure that we have sufficient time that we can, we don't get disturbed by other things like, oh, I have to fix breakfast or do this or that. It should be, so planning is very, very important. Where am I going to sit and chant? When am I going to chant? How many rounds am I going to chant? Best is to finish all rounds in the morning, but if it is not possible, then of course there's no choice. So main thing is to be conscious, to be alert and make efforts, because if we just leave it to our mind, then there will never be a situation where, we will stop Vaishnava aparad or anything. We have to make that conscious effort. And Krishna says, when he sees our sincere endeavor to do that, he's going to help us from within the heart as a super soul. So I hope that helps, Prabhu.
Okay, Mother, yeah. I mean, I know all that, yeah, but still I feel that, so when committing the operads, then I need to.
See, whatever is done, we cannot change that.
Yeah.
But like we hear, I was giving a class yesterday on Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 4, where Krishna says it's okay if we have committed sins. But if we take on to transcendental knowledge and we follow that, follow the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita, then Krishna says the fire of knowledge will burn up all the sins. So whatever aparad we have done can be, Krishna is ready to clean it out, make it zero, provided we do what he says.
Yeah,
right?
but not do again. Yeah,
No,
right.
not do
Yes,
again.
right.
Yes, not like an elephant's bath,
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, Mother. Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mother. Thank you so much, Mother.
All glories to Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you very much. Anyone else wants to share? Ask a question? Take away? Talk about a takeaway or realization? There is one on the chat, so I'm going to read it. It's from Savangasunga Damodar Das from ISKCON Harrisburg. Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. I remember this line from Malathi Prabhu when you were talking just now. Srila Prabhupada says, just hear the mantra you are saying. Don't think about anything else. Then he's saying, it helped me a lot. Just hear the mantra that you're saying. So this is his addition, it triggered this remembrance. But it says, I keep forgetting, but these classes, I keep forgetting it, but these classes keep reminding me again. Hare Krishna. So if you'd like to comment about it, Mother Gita,
Yeah.
that would be nice.
Yeah, Srila Prabhupada was asked, what should I do while chanting? What should I do? Should I think about Krishna's pastime? Should I look at picture of Krishna or do what? Prabhupada said, just hear what you're chanting. That's it. You have to just, the whole process is hearing the sound vibrations. They're very, very powerful. It's only the hearing that is going to help us cleanse our hearts.
Thank you very much, Mataji. Any other comments, questions, takeaways? If not, then thank you very much, Mother Gita, for giving the class today. There's so much, food for thought. And as I said, one of the Prabhu was asking where they can hear it again. Yes, it's on YouTube. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 1, Text 12. And then you put Mataji's name on there and she'll be able to find it fairly easily. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Vanchakalpatarubhascha kripa sunibhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Have a wonderful week. Krishna conscious week. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Jai. Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada.